How are you, Carol?
Good. We're okay. Thank God we're well, and we're really just being able to continue. And but Camila, it's so sad because I know a lot of my friends and talagang good friends who had COVID. So parang a lot of them really are asking what to do because parang nagpa-panic talaga sila when somebody in their home or in their household experience a COVID. It really parang scares them and they really don't know what to do. So parang it's really a good time for us and an opportunity for us to really help those people who have these questions. So thank you so much for allowing to be invited today as a host. Camila is actually one of the seasoned hosts of 700 Club, and she was with GMA 7 also. So thank you very much, Camila.
Yes, thank you, Carol. I understand how your friends feel. I think that's yan yung nararamdaman ng lahat ng nanonood ngayon, no? I think a lot of people have questions and there's a lot of new information coming out, di ba? It's very timely right now because we have some experts that we can ask, with all this new information that's coming out, no, Carol? And here's the latest, no? As of May 12, we have 4,842 new COVID cases. Pero syempre tuloy-tuloy pa rin yung government sa pagpapatuloy ng pagbakuna. But right now, we would like to invite one of our experts to shed light on all these new information that's coming from. So Carol, I would like to invite our guest, Dr. Jelena Maalala. She's a pediatrician from Perpetual Health Medical Center. Okay. Dr. Jelena, she finished her Doctor of Medicine at the University of Santo Tomas Hospital. She took her residency training in pediatrics at the University of Santo Tomas Hospital and currently practicing at Perpetual Health Medical Center Las Piñas as a pediatric junior consultant. She is part of the Asian Parent PH Tap influencers and experts, active member of different mommy communities, and she's a mom to two beautiful babies, Well and Emilio. And she's, of course, a second mom to all of her baby patients, diba, under her care. So please welcome Dr. Jelena. Hello, Dr. Jelena. How are you?
Hi.
Well, good
Hello. Good
afternoon.
afternoon.
How are you? Hope you're feeling better.
Yes, better na. Okay na.
But Well is pregnant. She's almost gonna give birth soon.
Wow! Nako, yan. Yan. Siguro marami rin nanonood, no? I have several friends. Yung iba, kakapanganak lang. Yung iba who are pregnant. And yun, they have a lot of questions. No? So let's start off, Dr. Jelena. All right. Dr. Jelena, a lot of people are getting COVID, no? Before, mga people that we hear about. Now, people who are closer to home, actual relatives or friends. So, yung mga hospitals, punong-puno at mga iba takot na mapunta sa hospital kasi baka mahawa pa yung kasama nila, no? So, what would you suggest, Dr. Jelena? Do you suggest home care or hospital care? Which would be best?
Actually, it really depends on the case of the patient. Especially now that there's overflow of patients having symptoms talaga. Kasi we cannot really say na, ay, COVID yan. Kasi even before COVID naman, we experience cough, colds na mga mild lang, di ba?
Yes.
So, we're not really sure if it's COVID or not. But technically, lahat kasi ngayon na may respiratory symptoms or merong, let's say, fever, yung cough, colds, the usual symptoms ng COVID, we really tag them kasi we want to make sure, we want to do, let's say, positive pala siya, we want to do contact tracing, we want to do isolation and then quarantine for those na exposed. So it really depends sa case ng patient. So let's say mild lang yung symptoms ng patient, kunyari, or asymptomatic. Let's say, may person na meron lang konting ubo, konting sipon, pero up and about naman siya, nakakakain, nakakainom,
Oh,
hindi nagrereklamo
definitely.
ng
Oo.
walang difficulty of breathing or any signs of mga respiratory distress. Yung mga emergency signs natin, like let's say, parang may loss of consciousness na, hindi mo na magising, iba yung color, that's the time you really have to rush the patient to the hospital. And let's say like in few days na may symptoms yung patient, if the symptoms gets worse each and every day, of course, you really have to bring the patient to the hospital kasi baka mas kailangan ng attention doon. But yun nga, since may surge ng cases no recently and medyo full capacity yung ating mga hospitals, sometimes nag-extend na nga yung mga
Mhm.
um, hindi talaga areas for COVID initially, nako-convert na ng hospitals to areas na for COVID patients. Nangyayari na rin yan ngayon. Kapag puno na rin talaga yon, some of the doctors nag-a-advise sila na home care. I know there are some facilities, there are some institutions, especially in Metro Manila, na during the surge of cases, nag-offer sila ng home care. Kumbaga, yung doctors nag-a-attend pa rin sa patients nila. Pero most of the time, virtually siya. I know some of my friends na nag-a-attend sa mga patients nila virtually kahit na kailangan sanang ma-admit. I know, nakita nyo rin sa news na may
Yes,
mga
that's right, no?
patients na
Parang mga
nasa,
hotels, no? Parang
yes,
hospital hotels.
ginagawa na lang natin ng way kasi di naman natin pwedeng pabayaan, 'di ba? Yung
Yes. Pero
patient.
Doktora, di ba there are, let's say, parang measurable factors or measurable signs when you need to bring them to the hospital. Like for example, yun, yung friend namin ni Carol, no? Si Tita Agi, nung bumaba na ang kanyang oxygen level. Kasi what is the measurable sign that we say na, oh, we need to bring that to the hospital, no?
Yun nga, the signs of respiratory distress. Let's say, ang normal kasi talaga is 95 and above. No, pero syempre if the patient has, let's say meron talaga siyang chronic lung problem already, tapos
Mm-mm.
let's say immunocompromised talaga yung patient, for example, yung mga nagkikimo, yung mga ganyang patients, yung mga on dialysis, yung may mga comorbidities talaga na
Yun
hindi
na talaga.
okay. Oo.
Okay.
Of course, yan yung mga kailangan din nating consult sa ating specialist. Yung mga doctors naman ngayon, they are very attentive. I mean, nag-aano sila eh. They are very open, especially to those patients na matagal nang nasa care nila. They can easily contact their physician and ask ano yung next best step for them.
That's right.
Yun
Okay,
yung ginagawa
Doktora, if
natin.
you decide, no, if we decide to, if we have a relative na meron ng COVID, no, we decide to do home care. How do we do the home care? Is there a COVID kit that we need? How do we best also take care of ourselves na hindi tayo mahawa?
Okay. So, first and foremost, sino ba yung pwede nating i-home care muna, no? So, syempre, yung mga walang life-threatening na conditions, yun yung mga ideally na pwede sana sa bahay. Pero let's say kahit puno yung hospital and then merong mga conditions na hindi na yung condition ng patient is not that good anymore. Most of the relatives, they really bring the patients sa hospital. They really wait, and then the hospitals naman, as much as possible, they try to accommodate the patient. Sometimes you will see patients along the hallways. Sometimes you will see them outside of the hospital, nasa car. I know, nakita niyo yun sa news, may mga ganong pagkakataon. No? So, ginagawa naman ng paraan. But for those people na medyo mild lang yung symptoms, yan, pwede natin yung i-home care. Actually, nung nagkaroon ng surge, mild to moderate, yun yung nangyari eh, yung mild to moderate cases na punta sa home care. So, paano ba natin gagawin yung home care? Of
Oo nga,
course,
kasi syempre ayaw mo rin mahawa ka, di ba?
oo,
Ayaw mo
of
mahawa yung
course.
anak mo. If you have kids,
Oo.
so how do you do that?
Oo. So, ang gusto nating mangyari kapag ka mag-home care tayo, syempre, number one, we really need to provide support because that infected person cannot go out of the room. Kailangan meron siyang designated na room para lang sa kanya na siya lang sana yung nandun. Ideally, merong sariling bathroom para hindi na siya lalabas and makaka-expose sa ibang tao. And then, kailangan once in a while, you check on the patient talaga. If, kunyari, mag-aabot ka ng pagkain, some of the relatives, they just leave the food outside of the door. Tapos,
Mm.
kukunin ng patient para dun siya sa um, loob ng room niya kakain. So, less yung exposure nung walang sakit. Pero, syempre, since di naman siya at the instant lang na, ay, nag-positive siya. Technically, na-expose na rin yung family member eh.
That's
So what
right.
we do is, I advise all the family members na um, nakita or nakahalubilo ng infected person to go on quarantine.
Mm-mm.
Yun yung
So
ina-advise
everyone in
natin
the house, every family member, everyone in the
na
household,
na-expose.
everyone should go on quarantine.
Yes,
Okay.
ideally for 14 days because
Do
maraming
they have
pwedeng
to wear
mangyari.
masks in their own
Yes,
home?
yes,
Because that's so
yes,
uncomfortable in your
ideally.
own home, di ba?
Oo, but it's the least that we can do. We have to wear mask, we have to frequently do proper hand washing. Yun talaga eh kasi though there are some studies that say na COVID can be airborne, initial cases talaga natin ang ano natin ano siya 'di ba? Respiratory droplets. So, you
Mm-hmm.
really need to properly wash your hands. Diba? 20 seconds daw. So, sing ka pa ng happy birthday para ma-make sure mo na malinis yung hands mo.
So,
Use
talagang matagal,
clean,
ano? Mm-hmm.
clean water and then soap. Yun yung gagamitin natin. Kung wala, rubbing alcohol na at least 60% yung gagamitin para at least ma-make sure natin na malinis yung hands natin. And then, of course, we really have to make sure na malinis pa rin yung bahay. No, may proper ventilation tayo, maganda yung air circulation.
So you
And
would
then,
say, Doktora, hindi okay mag-aircon if people, if there are some members of the family who are COVID positive, no aircon na lang muna, open all the windows, ganon?
they propose na mas magandang may windows na nakabukas. Pero
Mm-mm.
syempre, hindi naman lahat ng bahay properly ventilated. So, ito
Mm-mm.
yung time na pwede tayong, like, if you have air purifiers, mga HEPA filters, this is the perfect time na gagamitin natin sila. And of course, dapat hindi mo siya papatayin. Kasi yun yung
Mm-mm.
purpose eh, di ba?
So
Ayaw mong
24 hours a day, 7 days a week, nakabukas yung air purifier, Doktora. That's what you recommend.
Yes, because we breathe 24/7. So, 'di
Mm-mm.
ba, mag-uusap tayo, ganyan. There are times na hindi mamamalaya ng isang person sa household na natanggal niya yung mask niya. And then, paano kung positive pala siya? Meron siyang may virus siya sa katawan niya. So, pwedeng yun mapunta sa air kahit papano. So, at least, if merong mga mag-filter, the virus will attach to the filter. So, kailangan din na once in a while, we change the filter also. Hindi naman po pwedeng nandun lang din
Mm-mm.
sila, di ba? So,
How
hindi,
often should we change the filter pag ganun, Doktora? Kasi COVID na, kunwari, may COVID positive na. Should
if
it be
I'm
like
not,
every day?
sorry,
Okay. Maybe we can ask our expert later regarding how often to change the filter, no? Pero, yun nga, sinabi mo, Doktora, you really need to have the air purifier open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Okay, now my
yes.
question for you, Doktora, no? What if, nako, ako nakakatakot, what if yung kids na natin, no?
Mm-hmm.
How do we protect them if somebody in the house is COVID positive? Is
Mm-hmm.
it true that our kids will be less susceptible to the virus o pareho din? They will be as susceptible.
Okay. Yan yung misconception eh. Kasi di ba most of the kids na nagpa-positive, asymptomatic sila mostly eh. Kumbaga,
Mm-mm.
pinatest lang ng parent kasi may nag-positive. So, why not patest na rin natin siya just to make sure. So, based in studies, children are just as susceptible as adults to the infection. Mild lang yung, they just present with mild to no symptoms at all kasi uh, maliit yung lungs nila. So, hindi rin sila,
Mm.
and mas maganda yung mga receptors nila na nasa lungs. Kumbaga,
Because
hindi
they're
pa sila
still
ganun,
young.
yes, hindi sila ganun ka-expose sa mga, like sa adults, kasi di ba, there are smokers na exposed na sa mga, sa pollution. So, may mga ganong pagkakataon. But, for those children with pre-existing medical conditions, same sa adults, say, may hika, mayroong chronic lung disease, may mga cancer, may mga chronic kidney disease kasi we really see this sa pediatric age group also. So, prone sila na magkaroon ng severe type. So, hindi naman lahat ng cases ay mild or no symptom at all dahil based din sa demographics natin recently, less than 10% ng COVID cases comes from the pediatric age group dito sa Philippines, no? But most of the COVID cases natin, working class talaga. Kasi sila talaga yung lumalabas. But for the death, common pa rin siya sa elderly. Sila pa rin yung
Mm-mm.
mga hindi ganon kaganda yung recovery. Pagkadating naman sa mga bata, halos same lang. Around 1 to 2% yung death rate natin sa bata. So, hindi siya ganon
That's good
kataas.
news. Oo.
Oh,
Pero,
but still, we
yes,
don't
but
like
still,
that.
of course. But doktora, itong question ko, no, sabi niyo nga na the kids get it mild, no? Usually mild case. And dahil mas maliit yung lungs nila and yung receptors nga nila. Pero, doktora, can they highly transmit this to others? Kunwari, may anak, yung anak mo pala, COVID positive, hindi mo alam
Mhm.
dahil asymptomatic. So, can they transmit COVID to other family members pero malala naman makukuha ng other members? As for example, there's a lola in the house, senior citizen, yung bata asymptomatic pero may COVID. Pwede niya ba mahawa yung lola niya at yung lola mamatay naman from COVID?
Okay. Actually, sa studies, the viral load na pwedeng magkaroon ng isang bata, pwedeng similar siya sa adults. It's just that
Oh.
since hindi sila ganun, let's say, mas malakas umubo ang matanda kesa sa bata, right? And
Mhm.
yung capacity nila to cough out the virus, since smaller lungs nga, less than as compared sa adults. But
Ah.
makakahawa pa din sila. There's still a
Pero
risk na
not as
makahawa sila.
widely, hindi siya mas nakakahawa compared to an adult, you're saying, Doktora.
Depende kasi yun sa viral load eh.
Ah,
Tapos syempre pag
okay.
napunta na dun sa, let's say, yung kid, inubuhan ako, hindi siya
Mm-mm.
ganun kadami, pero nag-replicate na yung virus sa akin kasi magre-replicate pa yan eh, 'di ba?
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
So, lalo na if your immune system is not that good, syempre mas mabilis na makakapag-attack yung virus sa katawan mo. So, pwedeng mas lumala ka talaga na, mas magkaroon ka ng mas malalang sakit. So, it really depends on the um, viral load, and the
Yes.
immune system of the other person na makakakuha
Mm-mm.
nung sakit. Kasi let's say naman na preterm baby na ubuhan ng isang positive na adult or
Mm-mm.
positive na bata, since preterm siya, syempre may risk na makadevelop yung preterm baby ng medyo severe type of disease kasi immature yung immune system ng preterm baby. So it really depends on those factors. So it's really important na nakokontrol din natin yung transmission by practicing safety protocols. We really have to follow safety protocols even if
Mm-mm.
nasa loob lang din talaga tayo ng house.
Speaking of safety protocols, Doktora, no, at what age are kids required to wear a mask? So, are you saying, kunwari, pati yung mga babies na less than 1 year old,
Mhm.
should they wear a mask?
Okay, so face mask can be safely worn by all children 2 years of age and older. Kasi ang problem
Mm.
natin dyan, if magmamask ang less than 2 years old, may risk for suffocation kasi unang-una hindi naman sila ganun ka-expressive. Lalo na yung mas maliliit pa sa, let's say, mga few
Yung
months
mga
old, no?
newborn.
Hindi
Oo.
naman natin, hindi naman sila nakakapag voice out ng nararamdaman nila. So, pwedeng nahihirapan na pala sila huminga, hindi mo na nakita na ngitim na yung bata kasi naka-face mask or face shield. So, kasi face shield malapit din 'di ba? Malapit din siya sa respiratory area, sa nose area ng patient. So, we really do not advise this because of the risk of suffocation under 2 years old.
That's
But
right.
if nakakaintindi yung bata, yun nga, more than 2 years of age, we can advise. Yun talaga ina-advise natin na dapat nagmamask din sila in face shield. And of course, kailangan na yung mask ng bata ano din, appropriate sa face nila yung size. Kasi
Mm.
sometimes, some parents pinapag-mask pero nahuhulog yung mask. So,
Kasi
nade-defeat yung
it's too big,
purpose.
oo, for their
It's too
small
big.
face, di ba?
Oo.
Oo.
Nade-defeat yung purpose nung paggamit ng mask. There are available children's mask naman. So, pwede natin yung gamitin. And then, if medyo loose pa rin siya, there are available mga mask savers, yung mga pinapang sikip nilalagay dito sa
Hindi ba
likod
pwede,
para
doktora, face shield na lang instead of mask pag kids? Para they can
ako
breathe
personally,
better.
no, ako personally both ko i-advise na face mask and face shield kasi depende kasi yun sa size ng particles na
Mm.
mafi-filter din nung mask. Lalo na if um, pagka sobrang liliit ng particles, tapos let's say medyo malakas yung blow ng hangin, pwede siyang pumasok dito sa side ng face shield, 'di ba? So at least kung covered pa din yung loob, may mask ka pa din, hindi siya papasok sa
Oo, double
um
protection.
yes, double protection. And then the face shield is important also kasi the virus is said to be capable of entering the mucosa. So, kasali sa
Mm.
mucosa yung eyes.
Yung mata,
'Di ba?
oo.
Oo. Kaya
Mm.
tayo nag-a-advocate pa din ng face shield.
That's right. At anong gagawin natin, doktora, if our child has symptoms of COVID? What should we do?
Okay, if merong like sa adults, we cannot really totally say kasi na COVID 'yan 'di ba? Unless na na-expose talaga siya sa sure na positive. Of
Mm.
course, ipapa-test natin yung bata. Kailangan din natin ipa-test yung bata.
Anong
But
test would be best, doktora? Kasi we have several tests, no? Yung
mm,
antigen, rapid antibody, saliva. Which should we use for our child?
okay. Currently kasi, ang gold standard pa rin natin for testing is RT-PCR. Yun pa rin talaga. But there are studies showing that saliva testing can be an option. But especially for the kids, they cannot expect to rate too much saliva. So
Kasi kailangan
mahihirapan
talagang
talaga.
dadahakin mo, doktora, for it to
Oo.
be effective.
Yes, it's
Ganun.
a
Okay.
little difficult, especially for the kids. And then,
Mm-mm.
let's say, yung mga na-stroke, syempre, ang hirap nun, di ba? Lalo na kung wala ka ng gag reflex, paano ka maglalabas ng,
Pero doktora, ang sakit ng swab
ano,
test. Di ba? Iiyak yung mga
oo,
bata. Ang sakit-sakit ng swab test.
oo. Well,
They have to do
better
it.
safe than
Mm.
sorry. Oo, we have to be sure kasi these two tests, actually, PCR and molecular amplification tests sila. So, genetic material talaga ng virus yung nade-detect. Unlike the, what do you call this, the antigen testing, no, ito, rapid siya, rapid. Pero it's just testing for specific proteins on the surface of the virus. It may produce results quickly, but it's not as accurate as
Yes, it's
the
not accurate.
other
Oo.
two. Oo, it's not as
Eh,
accurate.
doktora,
So,
most accurate yung RT-PCR test, no? But um, is it, can you, would you gamble on it na talagang would you, for example, examples namin, no? We got a new yaya, no?
Mhm.
Yung husband ko, sabi niya, lahat ng test may percentage of accuracy, di ba?
Mhm.
Although the most accurate yung PCR test, would you gamble na to have her take the test, and if she's negative, would you let her enter your house na? Kasi, di ba is it true that somebody can test negative tapos later on positive?
Yes, oo. Personally, ang take ko diyan kasi, our helpers were supposed to go on vacation. Pero
Yes.
nagbago lahat
Oo.
ng isip nila, ayaw na nila kasi hassle daw. So, personal take ko diyan kasi, the test is most accurate 5th to 8th day from exposure. So, if you want to get a positive result, the most accurate will be that time. Kaya nag-a-advise ng quarantine. So, let's
Mm-mm.
say someone is coming over. Quarantine muna sila. Actually, the quarantine takes 14 days talaga eh. 14, kasi maraming pwedeng mangyari. So, on 5th to 8th day, let's say, nag-test negative, some advice na tapusin talaga yung 14 days. Kasi marami
Mm-mm.
pa rin pwedeng symptoms. But let's say na, nag-decide ka na um, magstay na siya doon, pwedeng negative talaga kasi siya kung negative. Kasi mataas yung specificity and sensitivity ng RT-PCR eh, as compared sa antibody testing, 'di ba?
Mm-mm.
So kapag ka nag-negative siya and then asymptomatic naman na siya all throughout, then most likely safe naman si relative or si ate or
Mm-mm.
whoever na
Mm-mm.
ano. So that's okay.
Pero how about this, Doktora? Di ba may bagong UK variant, and they
Mm.
say na kailangan 21 days na i-quarantine. So if you have somebody coming over to your house, o yun na, new employee, no? Would you say 14 days pa rin, or should you extend it to 21 days because of the new variant?
Okay. According to some of my infectious specialist na friends, 14 days pa din yung fina-follow natin.
Mm-mm.
Actually, sa isolation, shorter nga dapat sa isolation eh. Kasi pagka-isolation, ibig sabihin, positive or symptomatic yung patient, in-isolate mo. So, ang quarantine kasi, asymptomatic, inantay mo lang na maglabas siya ng symptoms. Yun yung sa quarantine. Yun nga
So
lang,
you
sa
mean,
quarantine,
Doktora, pag may symptoms, shorter dapat yung quarantine?
different siya. Let's say may
Mm-mm.
symptoms or positive siya, we isolate the patient. You
Yes.
use the word isolate.
Yes.
But for those exposed, you use the word quarantine. So sa
Mm,
quarantine,
mm,
longer yung duration mo kasi aabangan mo kung magiging symptomatic siya eh.
mm, mm.
Na-expose kasi siya sa positive or symptomatic.
Yes.
So di ka sure kung ano ba magkaka-symptoms ba ako in the next few days. They say kasi 'di ba minimum 10 days maglalabas ng symptoms. Pero para kasi hindi na malito-lito lahat, lahat 14 days na lang. Yun yung fina-follow natin ngayon dito sa Philippines. So kunyari, let's say nag-positive ka and then natapos mo yung 10 days, okay ka na.
Mm.
Pwede ka nang palabasin ng mas maaga ng doktor mo. So case-to-case basis din 'yan. Depende sa symptoms. But of course, if you have
Like,
if you
Doctora,
if
if
you're
if you brought in a new helper, for example, no, I think this a lot of people can relate to this, eh, kasi minsan,
mm,
humihingi ng bakasyon o bumalik from the
mm,
bakasyon, no, walang symptoms, nothing. And then, wala namang known exposure to any COVID patient. So, tatapusin mo pa ba yung 14 days? You should.
you
Or shouldn't?
should.
We should.
You
Okay.
should.
Is that clear?
Ideally,
Oo.
ideally, you
Okay.
should. Oo.
Ideally. All right.
Ideally, oo.
Mm-mm.
Medyo mahirap kasi hahanapan mo siya saan siya magsistay.
Mm-mm.
Pero it's for the safety of everybody. Kaya
Yes,
ako,
yes.
kinausap ko sila nun eh. Sabi ko, if you're going home, wala namang problem. Yung mga ganon. Kasi I
Mm-mm,
know naman,
mm-mm.
ang tagal na nilang hindi nakauwi sa mga families nila. So, okay lang naman sa akin as long as we will follow the safety protocols kasi I have little kids then may elderly ganyan. So
Yes.
we have to think of everyone's welfare.
So that's what you do, Doctora. You will quarantine them for
Yes.
14 days.
Oo.
Ayan,
Yes.
okay. All right. Yeah, doctor, how would you differentiate naman no if you have family members or household no na they are exhibiting parang respiratory
Mm,
symptoms. How do you differentiate it from regular flu to seasonal allergies? My husband and my son have allergic rhinitis.
mm,
No, how can you know na naku, allergic rhinitis lang yan?
mm,
Or how do you know na, oh, naku, medyo sign yan ng COVID. I have to, I need to watch.
mm. Okay, so actually madali diyan yung allergies. Kasi
Oo.
lalo na kung alam mong like ako, I have a severe type of allergic rhinitis. So alam ko na hindi ano lang 'to, allergy lang siya. Kasi
Mhm,
usually 'di ba,
mhm,
ma-experience mo siya either pagkagising mo sa morning, nawawala na siya sa hapon, and then sometimes
mhm.
sa gabi magiging stuffy ulit yung ano mo, yung nose mo. Then frequently nagsi-sneeze ka eh.
Yes.
Sneeze ka ng sneeze. Pero hindi ka yung nagkakaroon ng lagnat,
Mm-mm.
hindi heavy yung pakiramdam, wala kang fatigue na nararamdaman, you don't feel exhausted, wala kang
Mm-mm.
headache, wala kang fever. Sometimes may sore throat, but that's because of the postnasal drip. Kasi di ba sometimes ang dami ng secretion, so nangangati siya. You can also cough sometimes sa allergy, pero dahil din yun sa
Postnatal
postnasal
drip.
drip mo, oo. So, kapag ka nawawala naman siya, yung the usual na nangyayari sa'yo sa bahay whenever you have an allergic rhinitis attack. Of course, sure ka na allergic rhinitis yun. But, let's say sa colds naman, ito medyo, medyo similar sa flu, pero ang difference kasi sa cold, rare na naglalagnat, rare na naghe-headache, pwedeng may konting um, what do you call this? Fatigue na nararamdaman, may body malaise na nararamdaman, pwedeng konti. Medyo, medyo runny yung nose ng colds eh, as
Mm-mm.
compared sa flu. Kasi yung flu talaga parang ang bigat-bigat ng pakiramdam mo eh. Yun yung
Mm.
trangkaso
Mm.
eh. Yun yung trangkaso talaga na parang,
Yes, yung trangkaso feeling talaga. Mm-mm.
oo, mabigat talaga yung pakiramdam mo, nagfi-fever ka. So, medyo similar siya sa di ba? Sa COVID-19 na symptoms. And then yung flu din kasi, pwede siyang mag-last ng up to 1 or 2 weeks. I mean, di ba minsan may residual pa na namamaos yung boses mo, medyo masakit pa yung throat mo dahil sa flu.
So,
But if
medyo
it's,
mahirap, doktora, i-differentiate si flu pala kay COVID-19. How will
oo,
you know, this is just
oo.
flu, ito COVID-19, o hindi mo madi-differentiate talaga?
Well, the very best thing to do is talagang mag-aano ka,
Mag-test
magsaswab
talaga.
ka, magte-test ka to know
Mm,
if it's
okay, okay.
COVID-19. Kasi let's say,
Oo. Just by
symptomatic
the
ka,
symptoms itself, you can't. No, just by the symptoms itself, it's almost the same na talaga.
almost the same, pero
Mm-mm.
kasi sa COVID-19, depende rin eh. Common ng fever sa COVID-19, pwedeng mag-present ng headache, ng body weakness, body malaise, mga fatigue,
Mm-mm.
pwedeng pagod na pagod ka din. Pero, di ba dito, common yung cough. Mas common yung cough sa COVID-19 as compared sa sorry, parehong common yung cough ng
Mm-mm.
COVID-19 at saka ng flu. But in COVID-19, lalo na kung medyo severe, pa-severe type ka na, moderate to severe, nag-exhibit sila ng shortness of breath, which is
Ah, that's right.
an alarm sign natin na ay you have to go to the
Hospital
hospital.
na, oo,
But
kasi
if you're not sure,
hihinga.
then meron kang fever, cough, colds, tas 'di ba may mga patients na nagda-diarrhea, then um, you really have to get tested just to make sure. And let's say, nagpa-test ka ng COVID-19, symptomatic ka nung time na yon, and then you got your test 5th to 8th day nung may symptoms ka, tas nag-negative ka. Malaki yung chances na flu yan. But
Mm,
if
mm.
you tested negative ng 5th to 8th day, but still pumapangit yung condition mo, your medical doctor will advise you to get the test again. Why? Pwedeng false negative yung nakuha nating result. Why is that? How is that possible? Pwedeng mali yung pagkakakolekt ng
Mm-mm.
specimen. Pwedeng hindi enough yung viral load at that time. pwedeng na-contaminate yung specimen. So maraming mga um, pwedeng barriers na nangyari, o mga instances na nangyari,
Yes.
bakit
So
sila
it was a
nag-negative. So,
false negative. Mm-mm.
yes. So, just to make sure na wala tayong nami-miss out, most likely if your symptom is worsening, your medical doctor will advise you to have the test again.
Yes. Okay, doctor, just in case a member of the family nga gets COVID, no? What is the estimated time span for recovery?
Okay, usually,
Sige
yun nga,
muna, doctor, what is
10
the time
days.
span na hindi na siya nakakahawa and then time span for him to fully recover?
Okay, usually ang ano talaga nila is 10 days. Pero para nga hindi na magulo yung isolation and quarantine, 14 days. Or 3 days na asymptomatic. So
Three days asymptomatic. Okay.
let's say 10th day mo na,
Mhm.
meron ka pang symptoms, may ubo ka pa, lalo na lagnat. If may
Mm-mm.
lagnat ka pa ng 10th day, you have to wait for 24 to 72 hours na wala ka ng lagnat before kang i-advise ng medical doctor mo that, sige, you can safely go out. Pero there are some patients kasi who have lingering side effects. May mga
Mm-mm.
post-COVID conditions, which usually lumalabas siya more than 4 weeks. So, medyo matagal, di ba? Medyo matagal din. And
Oo.
then, some patients,
Pero hindi na siya nakakahawa nun, doktora. Meron lang
yes,
siyang side effects na lang. Oo.
yes, yun din yung problem natin. Kasi, kapag ka naka-recover ka, pwedeng meron pang maliliit na parts yung virus sa katawan mo eh.
Mm-mm.
So, yun yung nade-detect naman ng testing natin na antigen.
Kaya false
Sorry,
positive. False positive naman yon. Kasi hindi ka na,
hindi ka na
bumalik ka na sa COVID. Oo. Hindi ka na
Oo.
nakakahawa. Mm-mm.
Oo. So, yun yung isang tinetest nung, 'di ba meron yung piniprick
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
antibody testing. Yung antibody testing, yun yung ginagamit natin para ma-check nagkaroon ba siya ng COVID before. So,
Mm-mm.
yun yung lumalabas doon. Hindi natin nade-detect kasi doon yung current infection. So,
Yes.
well, madedetect mo siya, yung current infection, kasi it's IgM and IgG. So, the IgM can tell you current infection, but it's not that accurate. Pinaka-accurate pa rin ang
Mm-mm.
RT-PCR. But if
Yes.
you tested positive sa IgG, yung COVID antibody IgG, yun you can say, ay, nagkaroon siya ng COVID before. So,
Mm-mm.
yun yung masasabi sa atin nung test na yun. Bakit siya nag-positive? Bakit siya na-detect? Kasi may maliliit pang fragments. May
Mm-mm.
maliliit
Tira-tira.
pang fragments. May
Kumbaga.
tira-tira pa.
Mm.
So,
Pero
yun
paano
yung
to, doktora?
madedetect.
There are some patients that we hear of na nagkaroon ng COVID, gumaling, tapos sabi nga, traitor nga yung sakit kasi after, a few days or few weeks, they will die of COVID. Is that a new surge of COVID virus or that was
Okay.
the COVID virus that they had initially, tas it lay dormant in their body, tas suddenly, hit them full blast? Ano yun?
Okay. Pwede siyang reinfection or
Mm.
pwede siyang yung long COVID type that can last weeks to months. So, especially common sa mga may mga comorbidities or medyo rough yung course sa hospital. That's why the medical practitioners work very closely with them and follows up the patient more closely kapag ganito yung situation natin. Kasi sometimes, pwedeng nagkaroon ng mga multi-organ problem, may mga patients na let's say, pangit talaga yung naging effect sa lungs, and then na kailangan mag-rehabilitate magkaroon ng lung therapy na tinatawag natin. Some will
Mm-mm.
undergo mga uh, dialysis eventually. Kunyari, hindi ka naman dialysis patient before and then medyo pangit yung course ng COVID infection mo. So, ito yung mga binabantayan talaga natin. And then, since medyo bagsak yung immune system mo, pwede ka magkaroon ng reinfection. But,
So it could
yung
either be that or both. Any of those.
pwedeng
Oh.
both, oo, pwedeng
Mm-mm.
both siya. And then, meron ding mga patients na nakaka-experience ng parang post-traumatic na stress disorder din. Siyempre, yung mental health naapektuhan din siya na din, especially if the patient had to stay for a long while in the intensive care unit. And then wala ka ibang nakikita kundi yung mga doctors, nurses na hindi mo rin nakikita kasi lahat naka level 4 na protective equipment.
Mm-mm.
So, nakaka-experience sila ng ganitong events, nakaka-feel sila ng stress. So this is one of the long-term reactions ng patient. But of
Yes.
course, there is always a treatment.
Mm-mm.
Especially if medyo pangit yung naging course mo sa hospital, your doctors will work closely to manage your post-COVID conditions. Ready naman sila dyan, nagma-manage sila ng mga ganyan. Ready ang healthcare system sa ganyan.
Okay, that's great, Doctor. Doctor, we will be joined right now, no, by actually a couple who experienced COVID. Actually, wife, no, the wife experienced COVID, and the husband was the one who chose to do home care. Baka, you would also like to comment on what they went through. Ayun. So, yan. So let me introduce John and Daphne Yu. They are both licensed brokers and co-owners of Remax Capital. They've been married for 9 years with triplets that drive their world upside down and inside out. That's how they describe their triplets. What a blessing naman, triplets pala anak nila, no? Sharing with you, okay, yan. So right now we would like to welcome John and Daphne Yu.
Hi,
Hi.
Camila.
Hi, John. Hi, Daphne. How are you guys? When did you have COVID? Are you completely well na?
Yes, praise God. That happened to me August 2020, last year.
Oh, last year. Okay.
Uh,
And wow, praise God, you have a husband who chose to take care of you from the home. Could you
yes,
tell us your experience? How did this happen? You know what? I think the question on everyone's mind, this is what I always think of when I hear of somebody who has COVID. How did they get it? This I don't want to get it. I don't want any of our family members to get it. So how did you get the COVID, Daphne?
actually, parang I'm really not sure exactly where. Pero ang hunch ko is when I went to a mall during that time to have my iPhone fixed. And then while I was waiting for the service center, kumain muna ako sa Army Navy. So when, so when I was probably, syempre, I don't put back my mask every time I bite, diba? So feeling ko
Yes.
doon, that was the only unique thing that I did aside from my work, which kasi we've been showing properties even in June when it was GCQ and there was nothing naman. So that was the only unique thing I could think of na
But every day
probably
do you go out, Daphne? Do you go to work outside? Do you commute, or do you are you exposed outside?
yes, exposed din. Though we wear the face mask, face shield, we practice social distancing,
Yes.
ganon. So parang how we found out was that one time I just felt na I had trouble breathing. Not and
Mhm.
it wasn't normal kasi when I would answer the phone, we would be on the phone a lot with clients, gano'n. And then within parang a span of maybe 5 seconds, hingal na ako. I thought that didn't feel normal. So I was telling John nga na parang maybe I should get tested. Kasi syempre we have kids. That time they're only 3 years old last year.
Mm-mm.
So we have to be extra careful. And we have one that is immunocompromised talaga, our youngest triplet. So, and then I was telling John,
I was against it pa nga kasi I was telling na if you're not really feeling anything, I think there's no, don't go unnecessarily and risk yourself like you go to the hospitals to have yourself tested and along the way you might get it pa. So
That's
I was
right.
really
Oo.
it from the start.
yeah, he was skeptical. Sabi niya, wala yan, or something. So medyo naiinis din ako kasi I felt, parang hindi normal na I was
Mhm.
getting tired so easily, which is not normal for me. So, ayun, nag-away pa nga kami and he reluctantly drove me to Cardinal Santos to take
And you did
care.
find out, COVID nga. Buti na lang, nagpa-test.
So, actually, hindi nga ako nakatest agad. We had to book a home service instead kasi ang
Mm-mm.
haba ng pila that time, walang slot. And then it turned out na positive. So immediately I had to quarantine upstairs in one of the rooms upstairs. Ako lang nasa third floor. So buti na lang that bedroom has own bathroom. So nandun lang talaga ako quarantine. And
So
also
after that, Daphne, no one got it kasi you chose, no? You chose to do home quarantine, no? I'd like to ask pala, I'd like to ask, why did you decide to do home quarantine, by the way, John?
We decided to do home quarantine because when we asked doctors and even family members around us, they were asking like how severe are the symptoms that you're feeling. In her case, it was like difficulty, parang chest pain ba or sore throat.
the chest pain, parang difficulty
Mm-mm.
breathing. Hingal.
Yeah, hingal, like
Breathless.
parang talk about a few minutes and then after that she's having difficulty na parang she needs to catch her breath. So initially when we asked a doctor and even family members, they said na best to do home quarantine muna and observe for the next few days. And if it's really severe, and we were also told to get an pulse oximeter to check the oxygen level in the blood. So those were the things that we were looking into while we did home care for her. But it was really a wait and see. Like let's observe 24 hours, 48 hours, and even up to 3 days. If it's really something that you'll have difficulty breathing, then it might you might be needed to we might need to bring her to the hospital. But thank God, it was not needed at that time.
Yes.
Tsaka
Oo, buti
first
na lang,
thing,
no?
the first thing din, sabi ko, tawagin natin si Carol, mag-order na tayo ng air purifier and humidifier. Kasi we didn't have one before that time. So kami parang, oh no, now that I'm here, na parang I don't know how many days na ako positive pala, di ba? So, paano yung mga germs, it's circulating within our house. And now we're all on lockdown inside our house. They cannot go out. So, mamaya, umiikot na yung germs, ma-infect pa yung ibang family members. So,
And so no one got infected in your house except for you lang, Daphne. The triplets pala, no? The triplets were safe, no?
yeah, praise God, they're okay. They didn't feel anything. We had one household help who tested positive, pero asymptomatic ever since. So, wala naman. But we quarantined her na rin in her room.
But when she
Tapos,
tested positive, do you think nakuha niya from you, Daphne, or she got it outside?
I think she might have gotten it outside. Isip ko baka siya pang nakahawa din sa akin. But I'm not sure.
Bakit
She's
yung
the one
nauna?
Hindi rin ko rin alam eh. Pero she's the one who receives the deliveries, like vegetable deliveries, mga Shopee, ganyan-ganyan.
Ah,
So,
okay, oo.
maybe, that could also be a possibility.
And then at that time, we're not very strict with the protocols. Like if you have deliveries, mails, parcels, we do get a lot of documents coming into the house. So we are not that strict in terms of how to screen properly the documents that we will receive. Do we need to like quarantine it muna? So wala pa that time.
Pero ever since nangyari yun, that while I was still on quarantine, naging protocol na namin na all the items has to go into a room, tapos UVcare germ zapper namin before it gets taken out or before anybody touches it even.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about yun nga, the air purifiers and how to purify yun na nga, if we do have cell phones. And right now, I would like to call on the managing director of UVcare. May we all call on Carol Chuaying to, explain to us how does it work, no? I mean, are we properly using it? Kasi like ako, I have my own UVcare machine, no? But like, for example, when you get deliveries or groceries, how should we use it para we are using it properly, di ba? Carol, can you shed some light on how do we use it to, to protect us? Kunwari, meron tayong mga deliveries from Shopee, Lazada, or, we have, things brought to our home. How do we protect ourselves from the germs?
Hi, Carol.
Nakamute pa yata si Carol.
Okay. Hi.
Hi, Carol.
And Daphne for sharing your story kasi a lot of people are a bit hesitant also to share parang people having COVID kasi syempre parang when somebody knows you had COVID, natatakot din sila, diba? They feel that you still have the virus. So it's really such a good way for people to also learn and to be able to know na they can really do something about it, and there are certain things that we can do ourselves to protect us and to prevent the spread, kasi that's really what you wanted, na within your own home you can stop the virus from spreading and
Yes.
infecting others. So yun nga, when Daphne got COVID, John called, and parang it was a Sunday yata, no, John? Tas,
Yeah.
it was really
So,
surprised for me because we all know you have triplets nga in the house. So we had to deliver and serve. So that's how UV care is, eh. Parang when they know when someone is really in need. That's why we really have to parang care and treat them immediately. So that's why that's the mission naman ng UV Care, to help. So about the question on how to properly use yung mga UV Care products. So tama yung ginawa. Actually, I think um, even without COVID or with COVID, we really have to practice the safety protocols. Kasi nga, Doc Gel always says nga, prevention pa rin is always better than cure. So, we all know that COVID is spread through droplets. So, pag when you cough or sneeze, it is the COVID virus is suspended on air and it can fall on mga surfaces. And when it's parang when it is touch on surface, it COVID actually can live for hours or even days. So that's why when you have packages or deliveries, kami, our practice din is in the house is we put it in a box.
A very
And
big box
yeah, a
na
big, depende kasi
parang
kami
balikbayan
naman,
box.
balikbayan box or how, depends on your parang storage or how big your
Mm-mm.
packages are. So if you have bigger packages, um, you can have a bigger or a room, or you can have a room, or some other people naman, they what they do is they leave the package outside their doorstep.
Mm-mm.
So if you live in a condo, definitely you don't have a doorstep. So what other people does is pag may delivery, they put it in a box, and then you can either use the UV Care Zap. The UV Care Zap kasi, or the UV Care Portable Germinator 2.0, it comes with the UV and ozone technology. So the UV and ozone technology is able kasi to penetrate mga areas na hindi na-expose sa UV light. So yun yung maganda about the UV Care Zap and UV Care na portable germinator, na when you put it in a box, it can circulate around. So yung mga nakatago sa baba, or yung mga papel,
Kahit
documents,
yung nakatago na hindi siya
then hindi siya,
surface,
yeah,
na
hindi siya,
yeah, kumbaga na aabot niya rin. Even
yes,
kahit yun either, let's say if I put like money na patong-patong, all those, all those paper bills, kahit patong-patong sila, all of them will be ensured they will be clean.
yes, as long as you're
Ah.
using the UV Care Zap and the UV Care Portable Germinator 2.0, it has that technology. So that's why ang pinaka-best way to use it is you have a box, or yung mga mega box
Mhm.
or storage box, or even the balikbayan box, you put it there para doon magsa-circulate. So that will ensure na the packages that you receive or the documents that you have will be able to parang it has a disinfection and
Mm-mm.
before mo matatouch yun. So yun yung parang one of the protocols, or that's one of the easiest or the most basic you can do. And
I have
then
a
for
question, Carol, regarding that. Like, kunwari, most of our deliveries actually are food, no? Like, for example, uncooked meats and vegetables and fruits. So, pag na-UV care mo, minsan inisip ko, maluluto ba siya?
hindi siya
Fried?
naluluto.
Fried? Parang gano'n. Baka mag-change yung, mag-change ba yung makeup ng vegetables? Mawawala ba freshness niya? Or even the meat, will it be kind of slightly cooked because of the UV care? If I put them, no, in a box, no, will it affect the food or not?
No, it won't affect. Actually, it really helps pa nga prolong the shelf life. Actually, marami kasing misconception or a lot of myths about UV. So, but in reality, UV is really used in food processing and even in water. So, even the water that we drink, if it passes through the UVC light, it kills the microbes and it is helpful for us to make the water drinkable and safe. Kaya even in the food that we eat, like yung mga vegetables, ganon, you can actually use it and it's safe. It's not something that will parang be toxic to intake.
Yes,
Kasi you don't or you cannot actually use parang alcohol, 'di ba, to disinfect the food kasi syempre
that's right.
yeah, so that's the best way to make sure that all your food deliveries or all your food are being going through the process of sterilization, but it is still safe to consume and eat. But of course, may ano lang talaga siya, duration of time. Kasi if you prolong naman the exposure, definitely, because it's like the UV is a byproduct of the sun,
That's
talagang
right.
makikinotice mo magkaroon ng discoloration because of
Mm.
overexposure.
So how long, for example, let's say with fruits and vegetables as supposed to meat, gaano katagal dapat silang i-UV care?
Well, I would suggest, or most common kasi, the way kasi the UV works is distance in duration. So, meron talaga, and the intensity of the UV light. So, that's why merong mga smaller UV, mas matagal talaga yung nire-recommend namin na disinfection time. And then if mga rooms, since you're covering a bigger area, mas matagal din yung time because you want to sterilize a bigger space eh. So parang makover lahat. But with regards to food, using the UVcare sap and portable germinator in a mega box or in storage box, 5 minutes would be enough
Ah,
to
5 minutes lang pala. How about yung books? Because recently I bought some books online, no? And madami sila. It was about 104 books and they are packed in a parang box.
mm,
How long should I use it? And I'm glad to hear from you that kahit na tabi-tabi pa sila or
mm,
patong-patong, everything will be cleaned. Even the inside pages will get cleaned, no?
mm, 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 mm.
So
Yeah,
how long
as long
do
as you
we
use
wrap them?
the UV care with UV and ozone. So, but different kasi yung walang ozone. It's another parang yun, that one without the ozone, hindi niya kaya ma-penetrate yung mga inside. So, meron si UV
So it should be the one with ozone, and the one with
care.
ozone can penetrate the in between the
Yes,
books.
correct, correct. So,
So
the
if
meron
you're using
si
the one without ozone, you need to spread out the books.
yes, spread it out.
Okay. But the one with ozone, you don't need. Okay, at least that's clear. Okay.
So
You were
see,
saying.
yeah, when you mentioned about the books, there are various product that is very much applicable. We have the UV with UV Care Cabinet Sterilizer, which is like a parang mini ref siya, medyo malaki siya. A lot of now people use it to sterilize yung books like second. Ako bumili rin ako Camila ng second hand books. Actually,
Yeah.
na-feel ko siya talaga that
Mhm.
since it's stored in a long parang period of time, talagang na-feel ko medyo nangatay ako when I
Mhm.
use it without cleaning it. So doon na-realize ko that you really have to, baka nakakollect na siya ng dust and all and parang mga um,
Molds pa,
mold,
no?
'di ba? May
Oh.
molds din because of the
Mhm.
humidity here. So yon, I put it in the UV Care cabinet. So that comes with the UV and ozone technology also that can sterilize yung mga insides ng mga pages of the books. So yun,
Mhm.
if you're looking for um, product that can best use for yung mga second-hand books, tsaka very multi-purpose yung UV cabinet kasi pwede rin siya sa mga dishes, sa mga
Mhm.
plates. So ano rin siya. It's a cabinet type that looks like a mini ref. So yon. So medyo malaki siya and you can actually put a lot of things in it.
Okay, that's it. I wanted to ask, no, John and Daphne, regarding when you had, the time that you had COVID, no. How did you use the purifier? Was it in your room, Daphne, or was it in the room of the twins? How should we situate it? And I also wanted to ask Carol, if somebody has COVID, where will you situate the machine? Should it be with the person with the COVID, or the one, or with the kids? Syempre, the ones who are most vulnerable.
Yung
Okay,
sa amin, I
Daphne,
was,
where did you put it?
yeah, it was in my room where I was quarantined. So that was open like 24/7. So I hope tama naman yun. And then, since I had my own bathroom, I also, buti na lang, we had a portable sterilizer ng UVcare, the smaller version. So we had the bigger version for the triplets, their things. And then I had my own. I washed my own dishes, yung utensils ko. It was all separated from the rest of the household. And then for the rest of the house,
For the rest of the house, we have the germ zapper also. So during the day, when the kids are in the living room and the dining room and the kitchen, so we would use an air purifier again there. Tapos at nighttime naman, when everyone is in bed, um, we're gonna we use the germ zapper to sanitize every area of the home. So living room muna, tapos after 30 minutes, dining room, and then after that, the kitchen. And we also use the zapper to put in and to sterilize all incoming parcels and mails, even vegetables. Since we don't have a big box and we buy our groceries in bulk, we put it in the car. So we have a
You put it in the car.
of
Where do
the
you?
car,
sa
Okay.
garage,
the
At the
garage,
back
so
of the car. At the back
at the
of the
back of
car,
the
you're
car,
sa trunk,
sa
sa
trunk.
trunk.
Kasi we
the
have a
trunk. You put it in
car.
the trunk. You put all the things in the trunk, and then you plug the UV care there.
Yes.
Okay din yun ah.
So yung
It's a nice way.
vegetables at the trunk, and then even yung mga parcels and other grocery items na non-perishable, we put it in the trunk and then
Mm-mm.
we sterilize it there for like a few minutes
Lahat.
before we bring it to the house. If it's gonna
Yes.
be minutes lang, so we were more stringent in our protocols at home, especially when si Daphne was on quarantine because we don't want din na parang baka mahawa ako, mahawa ang
Mm-mm.
other members of the household and even the kids. So yun. And we had ourselves tested a week after she tested positive, and then good thing we're all negative naman. So thank God.
How are you feeling now, pala, Daphne, after all of that? Did you have any lasting, adverse effects after that?
Wala naman na. Thank God talaga. After that,
Yeah,
it
praise
was
God for that.
siguro ano lang, ang lasting effect was the insomnia konti.
The insomnia. Okay. Baka that was brought about by Netflix, ha? Okay.
Baka din.
Okay. You were saying earlier, no, that the UV care helped you, you incorporated it in your work. How did you do that?
Yeah, actually, since even during the lockdown, we do a lot of showings pa rin for clients. Kasi even if bawal lumabas, but there are still clients who wants to move to a bigger place, especially those of our clients that are staying in a condo. They want to move to a bigger space, like they need gardens, they need more rooms for homeschool and work from home. So we had to show properties pa din. So since we parang UVcare is a tried and tested product for us in our household. We've been using it for 4 years already, ever since we had the triplets. So we started to incorporate it, the air purifiers. When we show properties, like 2 weeks ago, we had a client where we had the contract signing in the house where she bought the place, where she bought the townhouse. So we had two purifiers there, and then all the rooms before she accepted the unit, we had it UV care sterilized with the zapper. So all areas of the room. So that's one of the service that we also share with our clients to give them peace of mind na naku, paano pag titingin ako ng bahay or bibili ako and then I might get the virus din.
Yes.
Kasi like,
Oo.
it was the peak of the that was the peak of the the COVID
The surge
cases
na
in
naman.
yeah,
I was
late
wondering
March.
how you would do that, John, no? Kasi like, for example, kahit kami, no, we have an events venue. I was thinking, after every client, how do we UV care it? Kasi it's bright eh, di ba? The whole room is bright. Pero pag na-UV care mo yon, it has to be dark. How do you do that, Carol pala? Like, for example, for a big hall, how can you UV care it na it's broad daylight? Okay lang, you have to do it at night.
Well, actually, you can use the UV care with or without light. So even on a broad daylight, there's really no parang it doesn't impact or it doesn't affect the effectivity of the UV care,
So
whether
it's
it's
as
on a broad
effective
daylight.
kahit madilim or not?
Yes, it can be used. So
Oh.
wala siyang parang it has to be on a dark place. Siguro nagkaroon lang ng ano yung dark place because there are people who really wants to see the blue light. Parang they love looking that, it's being turned on, ganyan. So but whether or not in the morning or in the evening or afternoon, you can really use it any time of the day.
Oh, okay. That's something new because you know
Mhm.
that's a good idea, John. No? And Daphne, what you did was, and I would appreciate that as your client. No, before I enter the room, you ensured me that you sterilize the whole place. No, okay. So that's great. That's great to know. So before a new client comes in, you can sterilize it for how many minutes do you usually sterilize a room before a new client comes in?
For Zapper, we usually do it like every 30 minutes, 30 minutes. But for continuous showings of properties, we just leave the air purifier on the whole afternoon that we're there. So even if there will be clients that will be coming in, there's like 15-20 minute intervals, the purifier is always
Turned
on.
on.
Yeah.
And when we
Mm.
take pictures, and then when the owner is still living in the house, we take pictures and videos. We bring all the sterilize, and the purifiers, and then we put it in the living room, dining room, bedroom, para na at least the owner will also have peace of mind. Na, okay, you're helping me sell my house, but at the same time, you're protecting me. So they appreciate that naman.
That's great. At this point, we would like to invite Dr. Gel back. Hi, Dr. Gel.
Hi!
Hi,
Yes.
Dr.
Hello
uh,
again.
Yes. So, Dr. Gel, no, siguro for your, maybe something advice you would like to give for people right now, no, who have, let's say, nga, either how can they protect themselves? Like, nangyari nga kay Daphne, no? She took out her mask sandali lang just to eat. Syempre, you need to eat. You can't eat naman with a mask, no? What would you advise people so that hindi nila makuha yung COVID? If they really need to go out, it's part of their work. What should they do?
Okay, so first and foremost, you really have to follow the safety protocols. Yun talaga yung makakatulong ng malaki. Kasi prevention measures natin yun para hindi natin ma-acquire yung disease. So let's say like for Daphne's case na parang iniisip niya, nakuha niya from eating sa restaurant. So wala tayong magagawa kasi baka mamaya that time may nakatabi siya during that time na asymptomatic but with a low viral load na nakahawa sa kanya or baka somewhere else nga na nakuha niya. Let's say, pwede rin hindi ganun kaganda yung fit ng mask at that time, kaya pwedeng may
Mm,
nakapasok or
mm.
hindi um, ganun kaganda ang quality ng suot natin na protective measure at that time. Hindi tayo rin nakapaghugas ng kamay prior to eating. Medyo madaming mga possible na naging siguro yun yung mga naging nangyari before, no? So paano natin to maiiwasan? We have to follow the safety measures. We have to wash our hands, we have to wear our mask, we have to socially distance ourselves to other people. 'Di ba sabi nga dapat 6 feet away from another person.
Yes.
And then, as much as possible, avoid yung mga crowded areas. Avoid natin yung crowded areas. If hindi talaga kaya, let's say, grocery run. Pagpunta mo ng grocery, gawa ka na ng listahan mo para mabilis ka na lang
Yes.
sa grocery.
Or order
Kasi
online, di ba?
you can order online
That's
also
even
and then pwede
better.
mo namang pa-deliver and then
Mm-mm.
sa-sanitize mo siya, sterilize, yun lang yung gagawin natin pagdating dito sa house. And then, isa pang pwede nating gawin dyan, syempre, we have to boost our immune system kasi yun na lang yung magagawa natin for now and not be afraid of the um, vaccinations na available ngayon. I know maraming natatakot pa rin with
Yes.
regards to
Oo.
the vaccination, thinking that this is better than this. But always remember, whatever is available is the best one for you. Kasi wala ka namang choice for now. Yun lang
Mm-mm.
yung diba? It's better than
Pero,
not having
Doktora, some
anything.
people are saying the vaccine is only good for 6 to 9 months. Is that true?
We don't have enough studies yet to prove na 6 to 9 months lang siya. But some
It's an
studies are
estimate
saying
lang.
na, yeah, some studies are saying na dapat by next year, meron ka ulit bagong booster. Pero yun nga, not enough studies yet. So, whatever
Yes.
is available, wag matakot. And follow safety measures, eat healthy, hydrate well, be active, and then clean your household, clean the entire household. Yun yung mga magagawa natin na preventive measures. So always remember, prevention
It's
is
best.
still the best.
Yes.
Oo, prevention is still the best.
Thank you, Dr. Angelina. How about you, John? Daphne, is there any other advice you would like to tell our viewers? Let's say who are either, may COVID ngayon. Is there something that you learn that I wish I could say this to every, person who has COVID right now? Sana they know about this. Is there something you'd like to share?
Yeah, I think aside from the safety protocols that si Dr. Gel mentioned, no, I think one thing that I can learn from this experience also is that to also trust the instincts of your wife. Kasi si Daphne was
Yeah,
saying,
I like that.
Nagpa-test na ako, pero sabi ko, parang wala. I usually like discount it lang na parang, I really didn't expect that we can get it up until that time that we got it. So, siguro it's another lesson na improve the safety protocols at home, but make sure also that when you feel something, be brave enough to come out then and have yourself tested. Kasi that's, aside, when you can't prevent it, you have to do something about it na eh. So that's the next best thing.
That's right. How about you, Daphne?
Ako, I would say don't be complacent. Kasi now, parang okay, bumababa ulit ang cases, parang feeling mo okay na ulit, I can
Oo
go
nga.
out. I think talaga don't be complacent. So that's why kami rin, like our UV purifiers are on most of the day and we bring it all around the rooms, in the house. Kasi takot talaga ako. I cannot imagine going through that again na may isa sa amin COVID or even yaya or even one of the kids. Parang hirap talaga. So we really take extra precautions na.
Yes. How old are your kids now?
They're turning 4 next month.
Wow, praise God. Okay, thank you. Thank you for your words, John and Daphne, for that advice. How about you, Carol? What would be your best advice to our viewers right now?
I think what's really good about all of these is we're really learning from the expert Doc Gel and also the personal experience of John and Daphne, because it's really through these how they have encountered or what they know, they pass to us so that we can really apply and it would really be beneficial to us. So um one thing for me is that I really believe that um our mission as UVcare is really to be your trusted partner in germ protection. Basically, we're really very happy to be there, to be of help. And one thing that we can really vouch for is that parang the products of UVcare have really been tried and tested, especially yung UVcare air purifiers. It was tested by the one of the biggest hospitals here in Metro Manila by their infectious disease control department to see how it will benefit um, and lower down yung mga aerosol na nasa air natin. So that's why it was chosen to be placed in their COVID patient room and COVID floors, because they have seen how effective it is to lower down the airborne contaminant. So for me, it's really good that UVcare has been there and it's being able to help everyone, especially those who are encountering or have experienced COVID. And hopefully, even without COVID, it's gonna be part of your home as a preventive measures. So we will always be here to help and provide everyone that protection. So thank you, Daphne and John and Doc Gel, for trusting UVcare also and having you and welcoming UVcare to your homes. And Camila also, kayong tatlo, mga UVcare users.
Oh,
So
you be careful. Meron din
yeah,
ako.
so we're very thankful because you guys have speak or you guys have experienced personally how UVcare has helped you and how UVcare has really been there for your family's protection.
Yes.
Thank you,
Thank you again,
Carol.
Dr. Jelena Maala, and John and Daphne, you, and of course, Carol Chuaying. Thank you for talking to us because a lot of people right now are really, have a lot of questions about COVID. And thank you for shedding light on how we can, if we do have COVID in the home, what can we do and what can we do to prevent it? So thank you for sharing about UV Care also, Carol. And for those who want to, how will they get in touch with you, Carol, just in case, they want to purchase UV Care or they want to purchase it in bulk? Where can they go or website that they can go to or who can they contact?
Yeah, they can just go to www.uvcare.net and we're happy to assist you. You can message us on IG, uvcare_care, or Facebook, UVcare Philippines. So it's easy.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you all to our viewers for joining us today. I'm Camila Kim Galvez, and we just like to say God bless you and take care and keep safe. Bye
Thank
Thank
you.
bye.
you.